She didn't even shake my hand. I remember standing there in that fancy Midtown cafe watching her glide past me like I was just part of the furniture. Her heels clicked sharp against the marble floor, her perfume expensive and cold. She sat down across from me like she was bracing for a business negotiation, not a blind date. "You're Blake?" she asked, eyes flicking down to my shirt sleeves, the faint oil smudge on the cuff I hadn't noticed. Just a mechanic, I gave her a nod and tried to smile. "That's right." She didn't return it, just stirred her latte like it cost more than my rent and said, "Well, at least you're punctual." Her name was Veronica Langston, CEO of a massive biotech firm, the kind of woman who lived in penthouses and had her assistant reschedule sunrise just to fit her calendar. Our mutual friend Carrie thought it'd be good for her to meet someone real. I guess I was the real part. I just didn't realize I was also the punchline. Thing is, I wasn't even mad. Not really. You live long enough, go through enough loss, you stop taking that kind of stuff personal. But still, it stung. What she didn't know, couldn't know, was that 4 years ago I was building IED diffusers in the middle of Kandahar. What she saw as calloused hands and dirt under the nails. Those were the same hands that once held my buddy's bleeding side, the same hands that now built my daughter's treehouse strong enough to survive a hurricane. Yeah. I've got a daughter. Emily. 7. Smart as a whip. She'd drawn a flower on my lunchbox that morning with a Sharpie. I'd kept it in my truck. Anyway, the date, or whatever it was, didn't get better. She kept throwing barbs wrapped in compliments. Working with your hands must be freeing. No meetings, no real pressure. Just turn a wrench and voila, problem solved. I nodded. Yeah. Just yesterday I was thinking about fluid dynamics and brake line pressure under mountain descent conditions, and how one cracked valve can bring the whole thing down. She blinked. Didn't expect that. Also told her about Venus Emily's science project, atmospheric pressure so high it'd crush a man flat in seconds. She smiled at that, but not kindly. More like surprised I could read. "I just closed a $300 million acquisition," she said, sipping her latte. "Changed the entire pharmaceutical sector overnight." "Must be exhausting," I said. "All those lives reduced to spreadsheets." She didn't like that. Her eyes sharpened. But before she could fire back, I noticed them 3 guys. One by the window, one near the kitchen, one at the door. They weren't talking, weren't eating, just waiting. My gut tightened. Their movements were too tight, too rehearsed. The guy near the door kept touching his ribs like he was checking a weapon. The way they angled themselves, they'd covered every exit. Something was about to go very wrong. I looked at Veronica, still mid-monologue about hostile takeovers, and said calmly, "Would you mind switching seats with me? I need to face the door." She laughed, condescending. "Afraid someone's going to rappel through the skylight. You know this isn't Fallujah, right?" I didn't argue, just looked her in the eyes. Something must have flickered there because she rolled her eyes and swapped seats. And that's when the waitress dropped her tray coffee crashing to the floor like a warning shot. One of the men stood up, his jacket swinging wide, Glock 19 on his hip. Everything went quiet. Then chaos. Guns up, screaming, shouts for everyone to get down. Before Veronica could even process it, I yanked her under the table. Her fancy heels clattered across the tile. I shielded her with my body and whispered, "Stay down. Don't move. Don't look up." She was shaking. Hands clamped over her ears. All the CEO ice in her melted to pure panic. I peeked up, one guy herding people to the wall, another ripping a purse from an old lady laughing like a maniac. They weren't professionals. They were desperate, and desperate people with guns are the most dangerous kind. One of them started moving toward us, the one with the track marks and jittery hands. He was 6 feet away when I grabbed the water pitcher from the table and smashed it into his temple. He dropped like a sack of bricks. I scooped up his weapon without thinking, safety off, checked the chamber muscle memory from another life. Veronica was frozen. I pulled her up, half-carried her behind the counter while bullets shattered the espresso machine. We crouched. She looked at me like I was someone else, like the guy she mocked at the beginning had been a mask. 2 left, I muttered. Leaders using a hostage. Seconds flanking left. When I move, you run through the kitchen door. You don't look back. She nodded. Couldn't speak. Just nodded. Then we heard it, the leader shouting, "Come out, hero, or I start shooting civilians. You've got 5 seconds. I peeked through the cracks. He had a little girl. Maybe 5. Gun to her temple. Her mom sobbing. Veronica gasped, but I held her back. "Wait," I shouted. "I'm coming out." I set the gun on the counter, still within reach, and stepped out with my hands up. "You killed Marcus," the guy yelled. "He's my brother." "He's alive," I said. "Concussed, maybe. But he'll make it." The leader's hands were shaking, his eyes wild. "You don't understand," he said. "They've got my daughter. If I don't pay them by tonight—" He trailed off, looking at the girl he was holding, and for the first time, really, saw her. "Let's figure this out," I told him slowly, stepping forward. "I have a daughter too. Her name's Emily. She loves dinosaurs and pancakes. Please, don't become the monster she's afraid of." He hesitated, and just like that, he let the girl go. She ran to her mom. The gun dropped. But the third guy, the flanker, panicked, pointed his gun straight at me. Veronica moved before I did. She grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall and cracked him across the skull. Hard. He collapsed, gun firing into the ceiling as he fell. Then the leader panicked again, raised his weapon, aimed at me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I can't go to prison. My daughter—" I moved. Knocked his hand aside, the shot missed. We went down together, glass-cutting fists flying. He was stronger than he looked. Desperation makes you strong. But I'd been here before. Pressure points. Chokehold. Tap out. He passed out in seconds. And when I looked up, Veronica was standing over me. Fire extinguisher still raised. Sirens wailed outside. Police stormed in. I dropped to my knees, hands up. I knew better than to look like a threat when the room was full of adrenaline and rifles. Later at the hospital, the medic cut my shirt to stitch a wound on my ribs. Veronica saw the scars, burn marks, bullet holes, old shrapnel trails. I saw her expression shift, from shock to something softer. Regret, maybe. "My daughter," I whispered, trying to sit up. "She gets out at 3. I'll take care of it," she interrupted. "Tell me where." I did. She came with me in the ambulance. And that night in my small Brooklyn apartment, after Lily curled up in bed with her stuffed dinosaur, Veronica looked around at the clutter and the calm and whispered, "I don't know how to be part of something like this." "Neither do I." I told her. "But maybe we learn." We did. 3 months turned into 6. She traded boardroom battles for backyard BBQs, traded cruel words for bedtime stories. I taught her how to change oil. She taught Lily how to do math with glitter pens and stickers. And me, I still check every lock twice. Still sit facing the door. Still wake up sweating some nights. But now there's a hand on my shoulder. Steady kind, scarred in its own way. 5 years later in our garage, greasy hands and engine parts scattered around. Lily yelled, "Mom, can you help me with this math?" Veronica looked up from the carburetor, laughed, and said, "After we fix this spark plug, your dad's teaching me combustion." Yeah, not the date either of us expected. But it saved her life and gave me mine back. What do you think? Can 2 broken people really build something whole? Tell me in the comments, have you ever judged someone before knowing their story? And if you believe second chances are real, hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe. Let's keep building something that lasts, together.